Still to come on Trojan Vision Nightly News, a controversial prisoner swap between Israel and Palestine. That story is coming up.
Plus, a not-so-good weekend for the Trojan football team. Danielle Percival will be in with the details in sports.
I'm Danielle Percival. Stick around to find out how the Trojans fared on Saturday as they took on conference foe Louisiana Monroe. I'll have that story coming up in sports.
And now Danielle Percival joins us with sports.
So Danielle, the Trojan football team went into this weekend hoping to redeem themselves a little bit since the last weekend's game wasn't so good, and it didn't work out for them this weekend either.
That's right. The team was currently 2-0 on Larry Blakeney Field, looking for 3-0. It didn't happen, but let's get into the details of the game. Last season, the Trojan football team suffered a road loss to a Sunbelt Louisiana school, and then 2 weeks later picked up a rare home loss against another Sunbelt school to get their second conference loss of the season. It seemed like history repeating itself on Saturday. It just repeated itself a week earlier. After a defensive struggle in the first half of Saturday's game, Louisiana Monroe pulled away to hand the Trojans their first home loss of the season by a score of 38-10. The Trojans had their chances in the first half, but opportunity only knocks so many times. The Trojan football team got within the 5-yard line twice in the first half, only to come away with 3 points. But in the second half, the Warhawks scored 35 unanswered to seal the game. Head coach Larry Blakeney says his team was simply outplayed.
Very disappointing, disappointing, but maybe even predictable. Watching them on tape coming in, and normally in our business in this game, when you don't win, you got outcoached and outplayed, and we certainly got some work to do. It's pretty obvious.
Offensive production has not been the Trojans' concern so far this season. However, on Saturday, Troy only managed 126 total yards of offense with negative 14 rushing yards on the night. A missed snap on a punt contributed to that number as it caused a loss of 28 yards and a safety. And turning over the ball was a problem the team struggled with on Saturday. The Trojans suffered their first conference loss of the season last weekend against Louisiana Lafayette. This weekend, they were looking to avenge that loss against the other Louisiana team of the Sun Belt. However, the Trojans looked like they were still stuck in last week, but this time their downfall wasn't penalties, but turnovers. Quarterback Corey Robinson threw 2 interceptions on the night, making this the first game of the season he has had multiple picks. But Blakeney said Robinson's interceptions weren't entirely his fault.
He was unlucky as everything. He tried to throw the first one away. The second one hit the receiver right in the hands and bounced into the other guy's hands. Basically, it looked like to me he felt pressure, whether there was pressure or not.
The Trojans now have a Saturday off before they play Florida International next Tuesday in a nationally televised game on ESPN2. The cross-country teams had their last tune-up before the conference meet on a course familiar to the Trojans. Troy played host to the 12th annual Coach O Cross Country Invitational on Saturday, and both teams had strong showings on their home course. The women's team finished second overall on the Hilly 5K course. Morgan Paulson was the top female performer for the Trojans for the 5th meet in a row. She finished 7th, running a time of 20 minutes and 5.03 seconds. The men's team finished second overall on their 8K course. Alec Ham was the top male performer for the Trojans, finishing 7th, running a time of 27 minutes and 59.89 seconds, which set a personal record. Head coach Casey McDermott on how this weekend helped prepare the team.
I think it'll be great right before conference to have a tough hilly course and at home, and I just think that's really prepared them well today for conference in 2 weeks, so it'll be good.
The Trojans will have those 2 weeks to prepare before heading to Bowling Green, Kentucky on October 28th to compete in the Sun Belt Conference Championships. And after being on the road for 2 tough weekends of conference matchups, the Trojan soccer team returned home facing the Arkansas teams of the Sun Belt. Dustin Carroll has the details of the weekend.
The Trojan soccer team was back home on the friendly confines of the Troy Soccer Complex to take on 2 opponents from the home state of our 42nd president, Bill Clinton. Game 1 saw Troy take on the other Trojans of the Sun Belt, Arkansas Little Rock. It did not take long for the Trojans to get things going as Alyssa Jones scored the first goal in the 9th minute to put Troy up 1-0. In the second half, the Trojans would put the finishing touches on a victory when Chelsea Williams scored in the 68th minute to seal the 2-0 victory. Coach Chris Bentley on Friday's win.
That was a good victory. I think it should have really stemmed off into this one. We worked hard on Friday. We didn't play great soccer necessarily, but at times we had some great combination play, great attacking runs. We looked quite good.
Game 2 Sunday saw Troy take on the Red Wolves of Arkansas State. The Trojans would get the scoring going early when Chelsea Williams scored a goal in the 32nd minute, her 9th goal of the year, making the freshman the leading scorer on the team. In the second half, the Trojans were not able to hang on to that lead as the Red Wolves would score 2 goals, with the finale coming at the 83rd minute. The Trojans would fight to the very end with many shots on goal in the final minutes, but were unable to execute. Coach Bentley on the team's first home loss of the season.
Obviously we're disappointed. I think we went out and we didn't put away chances that were point-blank easy chances, and you can't do that in this conference, and I think it showed really today. We gave up some silly goals at the end of the game, and couldn't be more disappointed with the result. We need to get the girls more competitive, and they weren't there today, and I'll take credit for that.
Bentley feels if the team would have played hard throughout the game, and not just in spurts, the scoreboard would have been different at the end.
I really think it just comes down to us not finishing the chances. We finished our chances and the game's a total different ball of wax. We finished chances and we're ahead 2-3-0, even in the first half. So it's just too bad. I think we didn't do what we needed to today, and it's going to affect us.
Dustin Carroll, Troy Trojan Vision Sports.
The team is now 8-8-1 overall and travels to Bowling Green, Kentucky for a Thursday night matchup against Western Kentucky. And to wrap things up, on Sunday, the Trojan baseball team took on the Ontario Blue Jays in what has become an annual event this time of year at Riddle Pace Field. The Blue Jays are an 18 and under traveling team that the Trojans have taken on the past few years. The teams played 2 7-inning games, with the Trojans taking the matchups 12-1 and 2-1. Troy managed 23 hits in the exhibition matchup, and 4 Trojans hit home runs on the day. Logan Pierce led the team with 2 long balls. The team will continue with fall practice this week. So Tyler, Rachel, lots of Trojan sports action. Also want to mention that the Trojan rodeo team was in action. Neither team finished at the top of the polls and everything, but of course want to throw that in there. And football team, not the best result, not what we were hoping for,
Right.
but hope that next Tuesday they can turn things around against FIU.
Right. Best of luck to them. We want to see another win.
That's right.
All right. Thanks, Danielle.